Hey guys, I'm back again. And today for Vlogmas, I'm going to talk about all the last little bits and pieces I've bought the last 2 months. Now there's one missing that hasn't arrived yet, and that is the third book from Leye Adenle. Correct me if I'm wrong, Omalola, with the pronunciation. So other than that, there will be no more book buying anymore this year. We'll see that in 2023. So what have I purchased? Okay, so the first book I've purchased is The Mechanics of Yenagoa by Michael Afinfia. This one right here. I think Michael is Nigerian, if I'm not mistaken. But this one says, Ebenimi, star mechanic of Kalakala Street, is a man with a hapless knock for getting in and out of trouble. Some of his troubles are self-inflicted, like his recurring entanglements in love triangles and his unauthorized joyriding of a customer's car, which sets off a chain of dire events involving drugs, crooked politicians, and assassins. Other troubles are caused by the panorama of characters in his life, like his sister and her dysfunctional domestic situation, the three other mechanics he employs, and the money-loving preacher who has all but taken over his home. So I thought this one would be an interesting book to check out. It's I like books like this, and it says at the top, raw, gritty, warm, a rollicking read. So I'm up for it. And it's not very long either. This book is, I think it's just under 300 pages, 295. And here's the author right here. There he is right there, Michael Afinfia. And let's see. Yeah, he's Nigerian. Okay, so let me know if you've read this one and what you thought about it. Okay, the next book on my list is this one right here, Invisible Things by Matt Johnson. This one just came out not so long ago, but I didn't hear a peep from anyone about it. Matt Johnson, this is him right here. He has a very interesting way of telling stories, a really interesting way of going about telling you something in his own special way. And so the last few things that I've read by Matt Johnson have been graphic novels, and those were fantastic. I wish he would continue the Incognito series because it's just that good. But this one, it says, when sociologist Nalini Jackson joins the SS Delaney for the first crewed mission to Jupiter, all she wants is a career opportunity, the chance to conduct the first field study of group dynamics on long-haul cryoships. But what she discovers instead is an entire city encased in a bubble on Europa, Jupiter's largest moon. Even more unexpected, Nalini and the rest of the crew soon find themselves abducted and joining its captive population, forced to start new lives in a place called New Roanoke. I'm curious. Are you curious? I'm curious. Okay, so the next book I have on my list is this one, Dr. No by Percival Everett. So I am slowly but surely making my way through his books. So this is his latest work. Okay, earlier this year, he came out with The Trees. And this came out, I think, a month ago or so, or 2 months ago. I can't remember. So I decided, yeah, let me pick this one up too. And right now I'm reading I Am Not Sidney Poitier. So yeah, I'm all in the Percival Everett. So this one says, the protagonist of Percival Everett's puckish new novel is a brilliant professor of mathematics who goes by Walla Katu. Walla, he explains, means nothing in Tagalog, and Kutu is Swahili for nothing. He is an expert on nothing. That is to say, he is an expert, and his area of study is nothing. This makes him the perfect partner for the aspiring villain John Sill, who wants to break into Fort Knox to steal, well, not gold bars, but a shoebox containing nothing. Once he controls nothing, he'll proceed with a dastardly plan to turn a Massachusetts town into nothing. Okay, so that sounds kind of funny, but clearly from the title you can see it's a ripoff of Dr. No, kind of, sorta, but with a lot more going on in it, and he's saying a lot more about things in Dr. No. Okay, the next book on my list is this one, which is Fruit of the Lemon by Andrea Levy. And this one I was inspired to get because this year we read in my Read So Lit book club, we read Never Far From Nowhere. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I am curious to get to more Andrea Levy. So hopefully next year I will be reading Fruit of the Lemon and Small Island. So, Fruit of the Lemon, it says, Faith Jackson's relationship with her overbearing, though always loving family has endured much. But when her parents announced their intention to retire back to Jamaica, it knocks her sideways. Her mother wonders if it might help for Faith to take a trip to Jamaica herself. Child, everyone should know where they come from, she says. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea what we're going to be talking about here, which Andrea Levy talks a lot about this idea of having parents born in another country, the child born in the new country, and then the child either having to reckon with those two origins, whether they be in the new country or go back to the old one. I'm looking to see how this one unfolds as compared to Never Far From Nowhere, which is a good book, even though it has its faults. But I think this one was written a bit later than Never Far From Nowhere. So yeah, this one right here. Okay, the next book on my list is The Return of Faraz Ali by Amina Ahmad. Okay, so Amina Ahmad, there she is right there. Now, I don't really know anything about this author. I've never read anything by this author before, but I saw this and it intrigued me. So it says, not since childhood has Faraz returned to the Mahalla in Lahore's walled inner city, where women continue to pass down the art of courtesan from mother to daughter. But he still remembers the day he was abducted from the home he shared with his mother and sister, of the direction of his powerful father, to give him a chance at a respectable life. Now Wajid, once more dictating his fate from afar, has sent Faraz back to Lahore, installing him as head of the Mahalla police station and charging him with a mission to cover up the violent death of a young girl. Okay, I'm not even going to read anymore. You can clearly see why I'm interested in this one. So, lovely cover, interesting novel, and yeah, I'm just like all here for it. All here for it. All for it. Okay, the next book I have on my list is a graphic novel, and it's one of my favorite graphic novels. We're now embarking on volume 6 of L'Arabe du Futur, the Arab of the Future. This one is Une Jeunesse au Moyen-Orient, 1994 to 2011. I can't fucking wait, okay? I cannot fucking wait to read this. This is a graphic novel that I'm not sure if I've done specifically a graphic novel spotlight on this, video on this, but I might. I don't know. If you're interested, let me know. But it's kind of hard to talk about. Like, I don't really want to. Well, anyway, this one is Youth to the Middle East. And it's 1994 to 2011. So it's Une jeunesse au Moyen-Orient, 1994 à 2011. So as we can see there, he has grown up. Riyadh, he's the one with the drawing case right there. Little Riyadh has grown up and he's like, looks like a full-blown adolescent. He's still there with his crazy daddy. You know, when your parents are crazy, you still love them, even though they say stuff that doesn't make sense. So, and this is his mother, who is French, and his little brother back here. So this one came out the 22nd of November, and I went right to my local graphic novel shop, and I purchased it immediately. I cannot wait. So this is a graphic novel series that explores Riyad Sattouf's life. So Riyad Sattouf, who is the author of this graphic novel, so he is writing about his life, but he is also doing the drawings. Now, what he does is he has this way of painting the squares different colors, which represents kind of sort of where he is. In the beginning ones, I think all of the sort of kind of beige ones that meant that he was either in, you know, Libya, or he was back in Syria. And then the blue ones were often he was in France. This one seems a little different. There are, you know, mostly blue, black painted squares in this one. Now, the artwork is pretty simplistic, but I feel like it's effective for what he needs it to do. I feel like it's done really, really well. I highly recommend this one if you have not read The Arab of the Future. This is one that you should definitely think about picking up. It is something you can learn from, different things. It's funny, it's shocking, it's surprising. It's all over the place with the emotions. It's really something that should be read, you know, by a lot of people, because it gives us a real insight to, you know, what is it like to be someone who has a father who is Syrian and a mother who is French, and the difficulties that, you know, come out of this, but also the beauty that comes out of it. That is the beauty of difference, and difference that is kind of coinciding, kind of, sort of. But I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite graphic novels. Okay, the other graphic novel I picked up when I bought The Arab of the Future, I bought this one, which is Les Fleurs du Mal by Charles Baudelaire. Look at this beauty right here. OMG. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay, now I'm going to kind of go through so you can see some of the artwork of Les Fleurs du Mal. Okay, it's kind of, I'm not going to show you anything too sexually explicit, but there are some sexually explicit ones in here as well. I mean, Fleur de Mal. But I love it when people do graphic novels based on the classics in French. I just think it's done beautifully. There's another one. But that artwork is banging, okay? So this will be a chance for me to read completely Les Fleurs du Mal, because I've only read like a couple things out of it. But I would like to read the whole thing. So this will be fantastic for 2023 to read with the beautiful artwork that's in here. I cannot wait. This one right here is just gorgeous. Okay, and last but not least, I have Yonder by Jabari Asim. This one right here. This is Jabari Asim. I don't know him. I believe this is his debut. No, it is not his debut. Jabari Asim has written A Taste of Honey stories, short story collection, and Only the Strong, an American novel. Also, he's written quite a few children's stories, and he's written quite a few nonfiction ones. One called What Obama Means for Our Culture, Our Politics, Our Future, We Can't Breathe on Black Lives, White Lives, and the Art of Survival. Yeah, so he's writing. And I think he's even written poetry as well, if I'm not mistaken. So what is this book about? This is another book that I haven't heard anyone talk about. So I'm not really sure why that is. Is it just because it's new? But I don't think it's that new. But I find that it's very strange. It came out in January 2022. So I'm not sure why I haven't heard anyone talk about this book. But anyway, it says they call themselves the Stolen. Their owners call them captives. They are taught their captors' tongues and their beliefs, but they have a language and rituals all their own. In a world that would be allegorical if it weren't saturated in harsh truths, Cato and William meet at Placid Hall, a plantation in an unspecified part of the American South. Subject to the whims of their tyrannical and eccentric captor, Cannonball Green, they never know what harm may befall them. Inhumane physical toil in the plantation's quarry by day, a beating by night, or the sale of a loved one at any moment. It's that cruel practice, the wanton destruction of love, the belief that Black people aren't even capable of loving, that hurts the most. It hurts the reserved and stubborn William, who finds himself falling for Margaret, a small but mighty woman with self-possession beyond her years. And it hurts Cato, whose first love, Iris, was sold off with no forewarning. He now finds solace in his hearty band of friends, including William, who is like a brother to him, Margaret, little Xander, and Milton, a gifted artist. There is also Pandora, with thick braids and long limbs, whose beauty calls to him. Their relationships began to fray when a visiting minister with a mysterious past starts to fill their heads with ideas about independence. He tells them that with freedom comes the right to choose the small things, when to dine, when to begin and end work, as well as the big things such as whom and how to love. Do they follow the preacher and pursue the unknown, confined in a landscape marked by deceit and uncertainty? Whom can they trust? All right. So that's this one right here. Now, I know people are going to be like, oh my God, here we go. It's another plantation story. Look, y'all, get over it. Come on now. This sounds like a really interesting way to tell a story about plantation and slavery and that kind of thing. I'm interested to hear what Jabari Asim has to say. So I will definitely be reading this one as soon as I can. If I can't get to it this month, which I probably won't because I have so much to read, I will definitely get to this one in January or even for Read So Lit, because this sounds extremely interesting and I would like to know where he's going to go with that. So those are all of the books for this particular book haul. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's talk. Which one of these are you really interested in? Which one of these is like, no, pass? I'm interested to hear what you got to say. So let's talk about it. And I'll see you tomorrow with another Vlogmas video. Bye.